Hi, I'm Jelena.
And I'm David.
And welcome to our YouTube channel.
Here we are. This one is on Parsvakonasana, A and B. Parshva means...
Extended?
No.
Oh no, Parshva side. Parshva side.
That's right. Kona.
Angle.
Yeah. Asana.
Asana. Pose.
Yeah. So it's...
Parshva side, angle, pose.
A and B. All right.
Not just a pretty face.
Nope. Okay, so we're going to go through the vinyasa, and then we'll talk about the some of the work. Tricky pose. Everybody hates B, but we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, wait, did we talk about you liking and subscribing and following us and all that stuff?
We did now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Make sure to subscribe and like it and comment if you have something you want to see or if you see something you like. All right. From Samastiti, Yekam, inhale, step to the side, about 4 feet, arms up, feet parallel. Dwe, exhale, just turning your right foot, bend the right knee, and then left arm comes over your ear. Drishti is the tip of the hand, hastagrai. 5 breaths here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trini, inhale, come back up, feet parallel. Chatwari, exhale, left side. Bend the knee, left hand down, right arm over the ear. There's the angle, the side angle. Parshva Drishti, 1, 2, 3, 4, or Hastagrai Drishti. And then inhale, come back up, Pancha. B, Dwe, exhale, turn. This is the one everybody hates. Again, gaze towards the fingertips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, Trini, you come back up. Chatwari, exhale, left side, turn. And left arm over the ear, gaze towards your left fingertips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, Pancha, come all the way up. And then exhale back to Samastiti. Okay, there it is.
It's a hard one.
It is hard, yeah.
Yeah, and especially if something's off in your body, I'm dealing with some lower back stuff, the twisting part gets really challenged. And so you see the two sides are quite uneven.
Yeah, and we'll go over some modifications and stuff. People often do have to modify, certainly the B position. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about some of the coordinates, which are kind of the traditional instructions about how to do the posture. So from Samastiti, when we step out to the right, we step out, if you read some of the Shastras, some of the texts that we have on Ashtanga, they'll say 5 feet. 5 feet's really wide. It's probably more like 4 feet between your heels, and then turn your right foot out as you exhale, bend the knee. So heel to toe would probably maybe be 5 feet. When you bend your right knee, you're going to bring your right thigh parallel to the floor, or try to. This is a good reason to step really wide, because, can you go back? If you step narrow and try to bend and get the thigh parallel to the floor, it's not going to happen because you don't have that space to lower down without the knee coming too far over the toes. So a nice wide stance will help you drop down. And then you want to end up eventually with the thigh parallel to the floor and the knee somewhere over between the heel and the toes, over that spot there. From here, try to hold stable in that right leg and bring the right hand to the outside of the foot with your right fingertips in line with the toes, and your left arm is over your ear, drishti here. Your left palm should be facing the floor. So you're going to rotate the left arm out, externally rotate it so the elbow rolls away from your face, and internally rotate your hand at the wrist so your palm continues to face down. Good. Keep the right knee against the shoulder and try to open this right side back towards the ceiling. So don't let yourself roll down, roll out. And the outside edge of the right foot stays flat on the floor. Do your best. Okay, all right.
Do the other side.
And then exhale, left side, bending the left knee, come down. Left hand outside the foot, right arm over your ear. And obviously it's the same, right? Outside of the right foot stays on the floor, drishti towards the palm. Can you do internal rotation with your right arm? Internal, like that. This is really common. We'll see this a lot of the time. People kind of hiking the shoulder up by the ear. So just think about rolling your tricep away, and you can see how that makes a nicer line. Kind of get the lat to engage a little bit to shorten. And then you're going to try to open that right side up and bring your bottom hip, this case the left hip, forward underneath. All right. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Okay. Unfortunately, then you have to do B position. So this is Jelena's easier side. So let's look at the full expression on this side, and then we'll talk about modifications on the harder side. Okay. So ideally, on one exhalation, again, dwe, you turn, get the left arm outside, left shoulder outside the knee, right arm over the ear, and the outside of the left foot stayed flat on the floor. That's really tricky to do, to keep the outside of this foot down. This leg externally rotates because you don't want to torque the knee, right? So the whole leg has to point in the same direction as that toe. And this hip lifts, the left hip lifts, the right hip drops. All right, and then come back up. Turn the other side. Let's talk about modifications now. So you're going to turn. This is very common for us that when we're teaching somebody, we'll tell them, just bring the right arm outside the left knee, and they'll try to do it, and they'll find it very difficult to stay balanced. So then we could tell them to lift the back heel, but actually that makes it even harder. It destabilizes the hips. So often people have to come down onto the knee. That's fine. We all have to start somewhere, right? Wherever you can get purchase, wherever you can start to grab onto the posture. From here, you bring your right arm, right shoulder to the outside of the leg. And then from there, you can bring your left arm over your ear. The right arm can reach down towards the floor. It might not touch the floor. That's totally fine. And then left arm over. If you started to feel more comfortable here, this is tricky, but you could eventually press through that left heel and lift that the right heel and lift the right knee off the floor. And then from there, eventually you could roll the thigh out and bring the foot down. So there's a way of kind of progressing out of it. One of the things that we don't do traditionally in Ashtanga, I'm just saying, like, if you ever study with our teacher or go into a traditional shala, is we don't do this version, with the hands together and turning.
It's so beautiful. It completely changes the experience of the pose. And the reason why it feels nice is because there's a little bit more passive quality to that versus this idea of extending the arm, even if it doesn't touch the floor, and then extending the top arm. It really focuses your attention on maintaining balance and a lot of work, where this, you relax. And so it feels very different. And our teacher doesn't approve of it.
I don't know if he doesn't approve of it, in my opinion, not because it's easier, but because it's a different posture.
It's a different posture, yeah.
And so this is like kind of a rule in Ashtanga. We'd rather do or see a shittier version of a correct pose than a good version of a different pose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you have to do this like nasty sort of version of it because your lower back is hurting or whatever, so what? We all have those nasty versions. Then that's what you do, and you breathe, because you're practicing something besides asana there. Mm-hmm. There's this other kind of level of acceptance and equanimity that has to play out too. And there's a lot of work to be done in that stage. Then finding something that you can do that feels comfortable and sort of that you can express what you think is as more fully.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the real discomfort, like the physical discomfort of whether it's this pose or any other pose. For all of us, the practice, we're drawn to that. Like, we do like feeling those sensations in our body, the challenges, like in a good way. But there is something particular about this pose that it requires a lot of effort, like an actual strength. So it's not just like relying and relaxing into your flexibility. And that's the part that makes it really challenging. And so we want to always try and compromise and try find different ways to steer away from it.
The other place this shows up is in the vinyasa, like the vinyasa into B, because if it's supposed to be, according to the map, it should be one exhalation. Yeah. So from the side, all on the exhale, you get into the full expression of the pose. But you'll see a lot of people take extra breaths to kind of get into a deeper expression of it, like doing the ratcheting thing with the arm, you put it and then you, and if you said, why are you doing that? Why are you taking those extra breaths, doing all those extra movements? They'll say, I get deeper. But that's a deeper sort of physical expression of the posture. Yeah. There's a deeper discomfort in trying to meet the vinyasa and coming up against sort of the limit of your movement or the limit of your mobility.
Or feeling like you're halfway there only.
Yeah.
But then staying in that halfway place and breathing and kind of finding calm is very challenging. So
which is the right way to do it? Somewhere probably right in the middle, as usual, right?
The middle path.
Yeah. Let both of those ideas inform you. Okay, well, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
We just spend as little time as we can on such an unpleasant posture. Remember, it's only 5 breaths each side.
That's it.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Remember, subscribe, let us know what you want to see, and we'll see you here next time.
See you soon.